It's got truffle, man. I love truffle, so I will always be partial. Top of the morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're back after a short hiatus, and I'm invigorated to be back sharing my favorite alcohol, my favorite liquors, my favorite wines. But today, we're tasting British and we're tasting gin. And we're not tasting ordinary gin today, we're tasting something which comes from decadence, from luxury, elegance. We're tasting truffle gin today. This esoteric, unusual gin comes from the most innovative distillery in the world and actually comes from the most expensive truffles that can be found in the world as well. This one in particular is white truffles from Alba in Piedmonte, which is northeast of Italy. The idea behind this gin was never just to create a gin with truffles in it, because, I mean, truffles do have their own marketing and luxury segment to it, but in fact, the idea behind making a gin like this was to make the world's first digestif gin, which can be enjoyed post your meals. And truffle just seemed to be the right ingredient to make that happen. Truffle is regarded as the luxurious sibling of mushroom. Juvenal, the Roman poet, once said that because of truffle's aphrodisiac characteristic or element, it was actually created by Zeus himself by a bolt of lightning. Known for its intense aromas and flavors, even during the Renaissance period, during the 14th and the 17th century, truffle was present in all of the royal banquets. It was known as a palace entertainment where only guests of the royal house, including ministers, were allowed to come hunting for truffles. Then later in the 20th century, Giacomo Mora made it extremely popular, making it known as the garlic of the riches. He started something called the International Truffle Fair, which was held in Alba in Piedmont itself. He made it so widely recognized that there were orders coming in from Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of the United States at that time. It was also sold to Marilyn Monroe, and it's said that Alfred Hitchcock made one of the most famous tours of his life to Alba, Piedmont, just to go truffle hunting. He actually ended up making a movie there, but which never came out, and that was also based on the life of a truffle farmer. Coming now to recent times, truffle was actually regarded as extremely expensive, known for 1 pound being available for 1,200 to 1,300 United States dollar. Coming back to 2021, it's now worth 6,000 United States dollar for just a pound, which is basically means that gram for gram, truffle is more expensive than gold itself. So now coming back to reality and now talking about when I first saw this gin, I had a few questions in my mind. Is this just a luxury stint? Is this a marketing gimmick? Or why was this gin created? Is it because people love gin and people love truffles, so you just kind of combine them both? But the more I found out about the people behind this distillery, the more I knew that there is more than just meets the eye. Cambridge Distillery was founded in 2012 in Cambridge in the United Kingdom, also known as the world's most innovative distillery. The man behind it is William Lowe, who is a master distiller, also one of the only master distillers, the only master distiller to have pursued the Master of Wine examination and have actually successfully passed it. At Cambridge Distillery, William and his team make sure that they strive for premium quality, and they don't care about cost too much. One of the things about gin is that it comes with an established price point. What that means is that distillers are often restricted to the commercial constraints that they have available to make the best gin that they can, which basically means that a lot of times distillers are unable to make the best decision but have to make the most cost-effective decision. When William started his distillery, it never came about to be a commercial distillery. It was something that came from his heart, for his passion, for his love. So what allowed him to do was to make the best decision at every decision-making point, which may be the most expensive decision, but it was the best decision. So he was never restricted to making cost-effective decisions, which kind of shows in his gin and how he has broken traditional boundaries and kind of come up with extremely expensive gins, but at a really good value point. Something unique that this distillery does, and I'll give you an example, is they use a low pressure approach, which is basically a novo-dimensional vacuum distillation process, which allows temperature and pressure to be applied with 7 other parameters to be applied differently and independently to each of the aromas or the florals that they are using. This means that even the most delicate ingredients are given a precision and accuracy as and when the distillery requires and how much ever the distillery requires. They use fresh botanicals rather than imported ones or dried ones that are mostly sourced. Majorly of them are sourced directly from the Cambridge University garden. In traditional methods of gin, what they normally do is they take a pot, they put all of the botanicals inside it, and then they distill it all together. But here, each botanical in each product is distilled independently, kind of taking out all of those flavors and just bringing out all of those aromas and flavors individually, which makes for a mesmerizing drink indeed. This process has also helped them create one of the best gins in the world apart from Truffle, which is called the Three Seasons Gin, which is basically they've kind of captured an archetype of each of the seasons during the three foraging seasons. So it's lemon for spring, it's rose for summer, and it's blackcurrant leaf for autumn. And they are made in a way that they are presented also consecutively. So first you get the lemon zest, then you're supposed to get the rose, and then you get that blackcurrant. Imagine the possibilities. They've also created an anti-gin, which is the world's first insect-based gin, which is a gin distilled but then made with the essence of 62 wood ants. Now that we've gone on such a long journey about the distillery, the distiller, let's come back to what Truffle Gin is all about. Truffle Gin, like I said, is the world's first digestif drink. Now what on earth is a digestif drink? Gin in general has a very aperitif nature. An aperitif is basically a drink to be had before your meals. The zesty, mouth-watering, limey kind of characteristic that most gins have, that juniper gives them, makes them a perfect aperitif. Now how on earth are you supposed to create something which is naturally made as a zesty kind of pre-meal drink, turn it into a post-meal drink? For that, we're going to have to think about what are the characteristics of a digestive. Digestives are mostly oak-aged. Think of this. Whenever you're done with a meal, what do most European sommeliers serve you? American sommeliers serve you? They serve you cognacs, whiskies, Armagnacs because of their complex, long, robust nature. That toffee, forest floor, earthy aromas, which kind of encapsulates all of your meals that you've had before and just washes them away and adds more flavor, complexity, and notes to that. The best way to get such oxidative aromas is if you barrel age something or you mature something for ages longer than me myself, actually. So one way that Cambridge could have done this is they could have made a gin, okay, and then they could have put it in a maturation tank and then just let it oak age for the next 25 years. But we both know at this point they didn't have the time, energy, or the idea to do that. So they chose to distill each and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings me immense pleasure to present this bottle to you. I am fascinated by how sleek and sexy this bottle really looks. It's exquisite, isn't it? I mean, I've never seen a bottle so kind of perfect, in my opinion. It's got just the right sleekness, the design, everything is perfect about it. It's got like this half black, half white, like this half transparent thing going on, which makes me think that it's like half truffle and half gin, which is what the whole idea was. And yeah, let's see what it's like. It's got a glass cork to it. If you know me, you know I love glass corks because they scream innovation, and anything innovative is good. I'll tell you what it says at the back of the bottle. It says combining elegance with decadence. Oh, words I've used before. Truffle gin is the ultimate indulgence, distilled and blended just 1 liter at a time in Cambridge, England. I'm very excited about this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pour us a little bit. Though you don't need to swirl this, I will because it's what I do best. Oh my. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you this. Even when I keep this here, there is just so much intensity of aromas of truffle going on that you can actually tell this is white truffle. This could be a chef's dream or a sommelier's dream or anybody that loves truffle. It just kind of builds into your nose. It's got this little bit of spiciness to it as well, but this complexity and this concentration of truffles which is added, you know that they were kind when they distilled the truffle in this. There's a lot of forest floor aromas to this, these pine trees aromas. It's got a bit of this raciness to it, this kind of citrus raciness that you can just smell right off the bat. It's a little bit spicy as well. On my third whiff, it feels like there's a little bit of pepper going up my nose, but honestly, it smells delicious. But that could also be because I love truffle, so it's quite possible. Let's take a sip and see what this incredible digestive gin is supposed to taste like. Oh wow, this is outstanding. It's an optical illusion of sorts, and the way that I call it an optical illusion is that truffle is supposed to smell more than it tastes, whereas juniper tastes more than it smells like. So that kind of balance has meticulously been ticked in a way that it smells a lot like truffle, but it tastes a lot like a gin. So it's not like I'm just chomping down on some truffle. It's just a very, very well made gin as well, because it's got all of the characteristics it needs that you need in a fabulous gin. On the palate, there's a lot of citrusy going on. There's a lot of earthiness in this, like very typical to a mushroom. There's got a lot of earthiness to it. It's got very complex aromas, very long-standing aromas, and the finish is beautiful in the sense that even after the first sip, it stays for a few seconds, and it's so yummy, and I'm going to use the word yummy because I'm longing for another sip of that taste of that extra truffle, that smell of that extra truffle, beautifully kind of harmonized with the gin itself, with the juniper. So a little peppery, a little truffly, a little junipery, it's got a little bit of that tree bark aroma going on to it as well. But all in all, I will tell you this is easily one of the best digestive gins, because it's also the only digestive gin I've had. Might I add, there are so many more botanicals which are added into this gin, but most of the botanicals, not most, actually all, the recipe, the secrets, all of it are actually kept ziplocked with the distiller himself, with William, as well as the production manager. So because of this reason, they are not even allowed to travel together, because the recipe is kept a secret. So at the end, all I want to say is a beautiful gin, digestive, aperitif, I don't care. All I want to say is this is a meticulously made gin. It's a delicious gin. It's got all of the characteristics you need, and it's got truffle, man. I love truffle, so I will always be partial, which is the first reason that I kind of picked out this bottle. But I will say this, even if you're not a big fan of truffle, this is an incredible gin, and the balance that they've managed to kind of create is one for the future. I highly recommend this gin. It's an expensive gin. It's about 11,500 rupees in Haryana. It's close to 80 pounds in the UK. One thing, and with that I will kind of call this video to an end, is something that they say at the distillery is imitated but never equaled, which is something I would like to say about my videos as well, and this gin as well. Thank you very much. Have a good one.